Hello, long time no see, although there's a river. As we speak, and today is March 29th, 2020, the province of Uusimaa has been locked down, meaning our capital Helsinki and its surrounding areas. So no one gets in, no one gets out without a legit reason. And our government did that, I don't know, 2 days ago. Oh, it was midnight yesterday, sorry. And they did it because they wanted to isolate the area that has most cases of coronavirus. And since most cases are in the area of Uusimaa, they want to cut it off in order to slow down this ongoing pandemic. And there's no way to stop it, but at least we can slow it down so our healthcare system won't get overloaded, because there are only certain amount of intense care places or intense care hospitals or whatever places, beds, machines and so on. So and it's getting pretty hairy all over the world, and I know people around the world, and I've been talking with them and watching vlogs and videos, some podcasts or whatever. And for me, as someone who works in the field of healthcare, I'm not thrilled. No fun at all. And obviously there are those idiots who are thinking that, well, it's only a flu. Of course I can go to bars. Of course I can meet people. I only have a slight cough. And not now. Now it's not the time for that kind of things. And obviously all the bars are closed. Government didn't demand them to close, but most bars are closed. Restaurants are closed in a sense that you're not allowed to eat there. You can take away food. And there are some smaller places, kiosks and so on, that only take card payments or mobile, no cash allowed. So and all this social isolation and things like that. And that doesn't bother me all that much personally, because I'm a social hermit by nature. I mean, I like to be around people, I like to be among people, but I don't want to communicate with them. I'm an observer, so to speak. And well, obviously there's not all that much to do right now. I mean, the libraries are closed, theaters closed, movie theaters closed. And pretty much during this lockdown, I've been at work and I've been at the grocery store. Where have you been?
Quite a few people actually. Stay safe.
I know, once again explanation needed. Late last year was my birthday, so I'm now officially an older geezer. I turned 40. And since I was, let's say, in my early teens, I've had this box of memories. So it's a cardboard box filled with something that to most people would look like junk. But those are kind of physical memories. I've collected all kinds of things like old birthday cards, and there's a small pocket knife I got when I was about 10 years old as a gift. There are what's left of crayons I got when I first went to school back in 1987, I think it was, something like that. But anyways, just a small objects, little things over the years, kind of my past in a box. So I was adding some 40-year-old or 40th birthday cards to there, and I was going through the stuff, what's in there, because I can't remember what's in there. So much little things, and there were a few cassette tapes, and I had completely forgot that I even put them there. But when I saw them, I remembered what they are. Back in the day, I recorded demos in my room with this cheap plastic microphone. And earliest recordings are from 1991-92, somewhere around there. And back then, I wasn't able to play anything, but I had the lyrics and melodies, so I sang them to those tapes, so I won't forgot them. And later, when I started playing, I figured out the chords to those songs. And the later recordings on those tapes are me, very, very beginner with a guitar, and the gear I had back then was a PV Rage 15-watt amp, my Les Paul, Yamaha Portasound, this kind of small keyboard that had built-in rhythms. So I used that as a metronome, and then I sang and played on top of that. And the recording quality and the quality of playing is what you can expect. But I was listening through one of those tapes just to see what's in there, and So What was one of the songs there, and I remember how it got there. In the late 90s, one of my friends bought a Fostex 4-track recorder, and he wanted to learn how to use it. So we recorded some of his songs as demos, and then we recorded some cover songs. I remember that there was some Ramones songs, for example, and then So What. And since he was a rock and roll purist, and I think still is, haven't seen him in years, he wanted to have this kind of organic drums. Okay, what we had for drums, not a drum machine, no tracker software or anything like that. We had a keyboard that had built-in drum sounds that you could play with playing the keys. So we actually played drums live, finger drumming style. And it was a nightmare because we did it four-handedly. He was playing kick and snare and hi-hats. I had toms and cymbals. And everything needed to be played from start to finish live. And we had a metronome so we don't fuck up. So, which we did multiple times. And obviously if you are recording to a cassette tape, 4-track, one mistake and it's back to beginning. So it took ages to get decent drum tracks. Especially I remember those fills. You can imagine two guys playing four-handedly keyboard drums when it's time for a fast fill. Yep. So I was listening to that. I wanted to recreate that version that was on that tape with my current gear. And well, everything went smoothly until it got time for the vocals. And that's why I recorded vocals live with the left side guitar. Because back in the day I was able to scream in pitch, so I sounded like secondhand Kurt Cobain. Can't do it anymore. And I've never been able to sing like this kind of aggressive punk singer just spatting out lyrics. Can't do it. Never haven't been able to. English is hard once again, but anyway, can't do it. And doing it like James Hetfield, no go. So it's kind of it's a parody of a parody. So basically I'm parodying myself when I first sang it. So if there are those dancing voices and all kinds of stuff, that was me singing back then. So it's a parody of that. And the whole song was basically, I have an afternoon when there's nothing to do, let's do something. And the drums are simple, I know, but that was the drum track that was on the tape, that was on that cassette. And he actually played it. My friend played it alone. But you can imagine 3 minutes going to ta-tu-tu-ta-tu-ta-tu-tu-ta-tu-ta-tu-ta. So just hi-hat, snare and kick while staying in time, somewhat in time. So those are small little memories. And it's fun to do something like that, even though some people may think that that's junk and you could have done it better. So, well, why? And, well, obviously, when it was my birthday, I was extremely surprised because I also got a present from family and relatives. What I got for my birthday was this. This is Behringer's Odyssey. So Behringer's version of Korg's version of Arp Odyssey, originally released back in 1972, if I'm not mistaken, 71 or 72, can't remember it right now. But this is a duophonic monosynth. Duophonic in the sense that you can play two keys at a time. There are two oscillators. So when you only play one key, both of the oscillators are assigned to this key. But if you play another key, then oscillator 1 will take the low voice, oscillator 2 will take the higher sound or higher voice. So if you play something in between, nothing happens because this is not lowest or highest note. And mono in the sense that the output is mono, which was kind of weird because this thing has a built-in effects unit which is independent from everything else. It also has a arpeggiator and please tell me what it is. Sequencer. But this and this are completely independent from the sound circuit. So this is fully analog synth, but it only has a few digital add-ons. And this is kind of buzzed me at first because this thing has three outputs: low output, high output, and a headphone out. And this thing has something like ping pong delays. And I was kind of wondering, like, this is a mono thing. So the output is mono, so maybe the effects are in stereo through the headphone jack, but it's not. And I believe that the reason is that Behringer uses the same effects processor in their other synths that are in stereo, that are stereo synths. So I think it was more cost effective just to put the same unit to this, even though it is mono, no matter what you do. Delays don't ping pong. So when this thing first came out, it was kind of a revolutionary thing. Revolution. Simply because unlike something like Minimoog, you can play two notes at a time. Plus this is designed from a performance point of view. So usually the signal part is linear. So you have the oscillators, mixer, filter, ADSR, and output, so amp section. But in here you kind of have to know where things are. For example, this is oscillator 1, but you can't change the waveform from here. It's down here in the mixer section where you can take sawtooth or square wave, and you can use pulse width modulation to get a pulse wave going. And you also can, just by flick of a switch, 2 octaves up, 2 octaves down. So in something like Minimoog, you have to tune the oscillators manually. So obviously, well, you can tune them manually here, but you can just flick. So you can go from bass to screaming lead just with a flick of a switch. And then you have these oddballs. This thing doesn't have mod wheels, so pitch down, pitch up, vibrato that you can adjust from the low frequency oscillator. So this was kind of a weird machine when it first came out, but it's very logic. So everything is right there. You don't have to do much in order to see what your settings are. And in the actual real Odyssey, these are color coded, all of these, so you can see what has something to do with oscillator 1, what has something to do with frequency modulation, what has something to do with filters. Everything is in different color. But since this is Mark I Behringer, all of these are LED lights. So if this thing was on, these are all white. And in later Behringer versions, they are color coded, just like in the original, but not this. This is first gen Behringer. And some people say that these things are junk, but I really like it. And by the way, about those sounds on the synth improv, because it was a complete improvisation. I had no idea what I was going to do next, but it worked out fine. You can't do that completely with the Odyssey alone. I was also using Zoom X01 or whatever it is. It's a guitar multi-effects pedal, and there's a preset called Clean ARP, I think it is. So I was using that. You can't really do that on the Odyssey alone. But I was recording demos a few days ago, so I decided to record an improv because I knew that I would be making a vlog in very near future. So I did. So I think the intent of this vlog is kind of just tell everybody that I'm alive somehow. But there's really not all that much to say or do, because I've been in a Groundhog's Day for a good while now. So it's get up, go to work, get back home, go to bed. With the occasional pleasures in music and in other activities. But anyways, I'll start putting this together. And by the way, I hate when I have multiple sources when I'm making vlogs, because now I have something on this camera, something on that camera, something on that recorder, something on that memory stick, and I hate vlogs like this. Although I would like to make more vlogs with kind of with a bit more editing and music and so on, but it's so tedious. I'm too impatient. But anyways, see ya!